Today we are going to build a house to conceal a super smelter designed by Cubic Meter. I've decided to go for a yellow gradient today, and I've already designed the building on a separate creative world. This is also my first time using replay mod, so we'll see how it goes. I should preface this video by stating that I am playing on a hardcore world. I've already gathered most of the materials for the build, but you will see me flying away or standing still for crafting and additional resource gathering from time to time. I've chosen a gradient that incorporates various materials, starting with yellow concrete and concrete powder, followed by yellow terracotta and birch planks. The transition continues with endstone bricks, normal endstone, and finally sandstone and smooth sandstone. This is pretty much the first time I've utilized a gradient in one of my builds, since I think it's too much work, but on a build as small as this and with the help of World Edit, it's not too bad. My style of building is pretty simple. As you will see, I find a certain design that works and basically copy it throughout the build. A good example are the windows, which all follow the same design. This can be both good and bad since it can give your build a sense of cohesion. However, overuse can lead to uninspired and boring builds. I didn't really plan much going into this, which is obvious when looking at the wall and roof layout, but this is a style I like since it often makes the house and shapes more complex, which will inevitably lead to a better looking house. It gives the house a stacked feeling and like it was built upon after the needs of the owner, especially when paired with a gradient or a generally good block choice. Now that we have our walls pretty much completed, I need to gather more stripped spruce logs, something that will become a theme during this build. After some zany camera movements, we're back to chopping more wood. It seems I wasn't as well prepared as I first thought. Now adding in the support beams around the house and again chopping more stripped spruce wood. Another important facet of building in Minecraft is to incorporate foliage or flowers into your builds. This will instantly improve upon any build. You can even take it one step further by building custom trees, bushes, and rocks, even terraforming the land around the house. It is a combination of all these parts which not only creates a good-looking build, but better blends it into the surroundings. After a quick trip for some more materials, I meet the wandering trader inspecting my house. I then begin work on the details of the build. I will mostly use spruce since it is the best wood type in Minecraft and it provides decent contrast with the bright walls. As you'll see, I use the old fence trapdoor campfire trick to decorate both doors and windows, occasionally working in some fence gates. Always using some kind of plant below the window, be it a flower or azalea bush, and sometimes I hang a lantern from the top as well. Normally when building, I try to keep an uneven spacing between the support beams. This is because that makes it easier to decorate and hang a lantern in the middle. It is important to note that it's good to use different spacings on different parts of the house. Another thing I like to do is to build a round sort of divider or top of an opening, which further increases depth and detail. Like a pseudo roof trim over a window section. I like adding a lot of windows into my builds since it's easier to decorate than a flat wall. And it allows you to easily add plants. Another great thing to do is to extrude the support beams since it makes it 10 times easier to decorate and it gives you depth from the get-go. But as you can see, I don't do it on every part of the building, and this is to prevent the build from being monotonous and boring. It also allows me to decorate in different ways, which further helps in that regard. I see our friend the wandering trader is still overseeing the progress from afar. I most commonly use a flat wall when the spacing between beams are 3 blocks, since it for one doesn't need much depth when it is that small, and 2 because it's easier to detail this case in particular when it is flat. The roof trim is nothing special, just using spruce to line the edges. However, something to note in this build is that almost all the roofs are different from one another, and if they are the same, they're not connected or close to each other. This is once again to make the build look more interesting, as it has different shapes, and it also makes it more fun to decorate since each roof style requires a little bit different decorations than the next. Another important thing to note is that I often add something a little extra when the roof trim is flat, as seen in the front and back of the house. Matter of fact, I don't know what side is the front or back, but you have eyes, you know what part one mean. This is to make the roof and wall more interesting and less flat, as well as draining you of more materials. A fun thing to add to your builds are balconies. I have built 2 on either side, and they help break up the shape of the house. But if you find that your house looks flat or the shape is too square or rectangle, you can add these small, low roofs on the side which are connected to the ground with fences and walls. In this build I've used 2 main types of the porticos often utilized when building. One which has the same style as the roof and is often slanted, and the other which uses campfires and if desired trapdoors on the end to add more variety. Both of these work great, and if you are going to use multiple as I have done here, I would recommend using a mix of the 2. I like builds with a lot of details and few flat surfaces, which includes the roof, which is why I often make them interconnected, but if I still end up with a long stretch of roof I'll build a dormer window to break it up. I've also lined to highest most roof with some fences and fence gates, which looks better than just leaving it flat. You can also use alternating slabs or spikes to get a similar effect. Now finished with the wall details, it's time to build the roof, and I've decided to go for a deep slate mix on this roof since it complements the walls well and is one of, if not the best collection of roof blocks in Minecraft. I've opted to make the whole roof out of the same blocks since it's all connected and it would be weird to abruptly switch to a different block. And it works since the roof shape is fairly complex and it is a small building. Another thing to consider when building a roof or a house in general is, if you are going to have different roof or house segments that intersect, is to almost always have the rooftops at different heights. This will break up the shape of the house and provide more complexity, which along with detail are the most important things when building a house in Minecraft. This will naturally be achieved with the aforementioned technique of utilizing different roof styles without even thinking about it. As you can see, I ended up with an even wall spacing after all, but a trick I like to use is to add trapdoors facing each other in the middle to add a divider, which looks good in my opinion. After finishing the roof, it's the building complete, so here's a final look around the house, and I realize I forgot to film adding the plants and some decoration, but imagine that they are in the flower beds and that it looks beautiful. Thank you for watching the video, and remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope that you enjoyed the build.